Hello, banjo players. This is going to be a long lesson, I think. Forgive me, I have a bit of a cold, which is really going to be funny because I'm going to be trying to sing some portions of this to help you understand how to improvise a little more. I'm going to be covering a concept called intros. An intro sets the tone for a banjo, and you can do it an intro into someone singing, or you can do an intro, of course, into your solos. And typically they sound something like this. Or, yeah, you gotta do that overbite. What the intro does is it sets the very first note. And understanding the first note of the song really assists you in being able to understand where the melody is going to progress. And in the key of G, there are going to be 3 notes that a song can start on. And I'm talking about the bar 1. There's sometimes an intro portion of it, like down in the valley. The valley is the note that you're talking about, not the down in the. That's an intro into the song. So, and that's what the intro. Those little bits. That note is the note that you're going to go to, and that's the melody note. So in G, there is either a G, which is the root, B, which is the third, or D, which is the fifth. The song is going to pick one of those 3 as the melody note as the very first bar. Typically it's a G, but not always. It can definitely be those 3. Now someone is going to provide an example of one where it's not, but I can't come up with one off the top of my head. So, knowing that, there's that note, there's this note, there's this note, there's this note, and there's this note. And now, that sounds like, of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but what I'm doing is I'm repeating. This is the same. This is the same as this. This is the same as this, just 1 octave higher. So it can start on any of those because, of course, people have more of a range than I have today. But it's going to be those notes. So there are intros that correspond to each of those. Now, typically, you don't want to just hit that note. You want to slide into it. It sounds a little fancier. So if the song was starting on that note, that's a very good intro to do. Or though that's kind of an oddball one. Now if it's starting on the G, slide into it. Slide on the D string. If it's starting on the high D, if it's starting on the low D, now of course you can't slide into that. You could do a hammer off or a pull off, but I like to hit that note just square. Now it can also start, as I said, start on the high G. You can do a slide, the Cripple Creek slide, if you will. I'd like to do a little triplet, which is a thumb, index, middle, triplet. So those are the variations of how you can do those little intros into the song. Now I'm going to take a melody and I'm going to use a made-up verse that I have, just actually half of a verse. It's something bluegrassy. Down in the valley where the waters run so slow. And I'm going to show you how, depending on the note that you're starting on, is depending on how the intro works. So if the song is down, down in the valley where the water runs so slow, down in the valley where the water runs so slow, that's the intro that you'd want to do, because I'm going down, down in the valley where the water runs so slow. You wouldn't want to go starting on that. That's not the melody you're doing, and sometimes it can sound nice because you're doing a bit of the harmony. Down, no. Down in the valley, the water runs so slow. Now, if the song went down in the valley, water runs so slow. Right, so that's doing. Now, if the melody went, you could do down in the valley, water runs so slow. Which is way easier for me to sing, but as you can see, if the melody goes up or if the melody goes down, that intro allows you a really nice spot and starting spot to go from. Now, starting on the D. There we go. Now, if it's starting on the low D, which is, I should have started with. Down in the valley, water runs so slow. Down in the valley, water runs so slow. Down in the valley, water runs so slow. Or, the high one. So slow. So slow. That wasn't close to the melody though. No. That's likely what I would do, something like that. For that, or the Cripple Creek slide, of course. So, as you can see, there's how that works. Now, there are some songs that start on the 4 chord, on the C. Again, with C, there are 3 notes that you can start on. You can start on the C, you can start on the E, or you can start, let's do that the other way around. You can start on the C, the G, or the E. Is that the right order? E, F, G. How about I do it in the right order? C, E, G. Those are the 3 notes that you can start on. So, that's very similar, right? That G note that we learnt in the very first intro, or you can do a slide, of course, onto that. But it's tough on a slide because when you're sliding into a C, all of a sudden you have to make that C chord. So unless you're doing a slide, which is a nasty slide to do that way, in this case, I would be doing... I wouldn't worry about going into the slide. I would actually play the note just by itself. So... Or you can do a rundown into that low E. So those are the three notes. You could also hit this one, but that's how I would do that. Right. Anyway, so going back to Down in the Valley, the water runs so slow. That sounds a lot alike, but honestly, they are starting on different notes. Sorry, I was doing and now, if you're still with us, you're probably wondering about a D. Well, there's actually very few songs that start on a D. When when the song is in G, but when you do Ds, it's a turnaround. A turnaround can be an intro or it can be even a break into a song. And what a turnaround does is it's just a nice little short break and then it goes directly into the song, and it's the second half of a verse or a chorus. So a turnaround would be like... So, man, I almost have a song here. Okay, so the turnaround into a D, again, three notes that you can start on with a D. There's the D, the F sharp, and the A. So this is a really nice one because you can go. I love that. So there. That's how my song is going to start from that one. So you can do slight variations, of course, but what's most important is starting on that, because that is the note. Now, here's the other D, the high D. So this is it's C, up one, then D. And I like doing a slide into that. There, that's the A. There, so those are the turnarounds on the D. So there's the D, there's the other D, there's the A. I should probably give you, actually you could do the same. On the F sharp. I'm going to say that probably there's not a whole lot of... There's the other one. So there's the F sharp, D, A. Well, I hope that helps. I'll actually add some of those other ones that I was fooling around with. I'll post that tab up for you. Hope that kind of explains some of the intros. Excuse the cold, excuse the off-kilter singing, but hopefully that makes some sense as to how to start, how to choose that melody note, recognize it, and be able to improvise, which is funny as I'm giving you the tab to be able to do this. But really, that understanding of that first note will really help you progress from that first note to the second note to the third, and soon you'll be playing the melody like a master. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line.